welcome back to the Squared Circle with myself, Mr. David Alorca.
And myself, Joe Orgida.
That's right. We are back for another episode of This Week in Boxing, where we give you the latest boxing news hot off the boxing press. Now, we are going to kickstart with the news that we've heard recently, very, very recently, that the fight of Derek Chisora versus Jarrell Big Baby Miller is going down in Manchester on February the 8th. Joe, talk to me about this bad boy.
What a fight that is, man. It was obviously meant to happen in January. It's now moved on to February 8th. Bit disappointed because I was really excited to see that fight ASAP, man. That's a proper war. But cool, it doesn't matter. It's only a month further. But 2025 is looking strong. Really excited to see that fight. And we'll definitely do a preview and see who is going to win that fight and how they're going to win later on. But yeah, I'm really excited for that fight. Can't wait to see what happens. Can't wait to see the build-up, to be honest. I think the build-up will be the blockbuster and it'll foreshadow what we're going to see on the night.
Yeah, I think that's the reason probably as to why it probably got moved to February, because they're probably looking at the whole thing, right? Obviously, there's many other different factors involved, but they're probably looking at the whole thing and thinking, in order to maximize and gain what we can, we need a bit of lead time. If they start promoting before Christmas, by the time Christmas comes and New Year's comes, like, people are in a different mode or a different mindset. You know, like the hype would have died down if they had like the announcement press conference too early. You've got a lot going on before the end of the year. Yeah. So they're probably looking at kickstarting the year with a bang, not in terms of the fight itself, but the fight announcement, the announcement press conference, and obviously the words of war between the two of them.
That's true. Also in January, I've heard Eddie Hearn confirming that he's probably going to do 3 to 4 shows in January already. So the boxing schedule in January is already a bit packed out. So and in February, I think February 22nd, we're going to see a Saudi card on that night. So it makes sense to fit in February, just to split the boxing schedule further. So yeah, it's a good move. And plus, yeah, winter time, everyone's going to be coming back from the holidays. Probably get settled back in. February's a perfect time for that fight.
Most definitely. Now, let me slide slightly and talk about obviously February 22nd, right? Like February 22nd, initially we thought it was going to be a 5v5, right? Eddie Hearn versus
Frank.
Exactly. Then we
Oscar as well.
Then we thought it was going to be Eddie against Oscar, but now we are hearing that the names on this card are going to be absolutely sensational. The fights on this card are going to be incredible, but we still have no idea what they are.
Eddie's confirmed last night that this most probably is going to be the best card that Riyadh season ever produced.
He's been saying that. He's been saying that for the last 4 weeks. Like this is the card. You know, he teased some things. You know. Obviously, Coogan was whispering to Eddie, and Eddie was like, "Oh yeah, right." But obviously, we don't know what he was saying. But it's sounding and looking like we're going to be in for a real treat on February 22nd.
Do you know what? I think we do see a couple of fights that were meant to be on the Oscar versus Eddie 5v5. I do think we see something like Shakur Zepeda, maybe Bout, Ortiz. That wasn't on the Latino card, but you know what I mean? That fight we can see. Obviously, we see Hamzah Sheeraz probably fighting on that card as well. Potential for a world title.
Yep.
And it's not against Janabek.
It's not against Janabek, like you had said in the previous episode.
It's a smart move, though. I look, at the end of the day, I did say in the previous episode, look, I feel like, not to say, oh, Hamzah duck Janabek. Nah, that's not the case. It's more the fact of, look, at the end, Hamzah's got so much left to improve on. And why not grab a belt from Adames or from Lara? It hasn't been confirmed who it's going to be, but most probably it's going to be Adames because Hamzah Sheeraz is WBC #1 mandatory on that list. So it makes sense as Adames. Try and get a belt for Adames. Maybe try and nick a belt for Lara and do Undisputed at the end. It makes so much sense, and I think it's a clever move. I think it's a good move, and I think it's good matchmaking.
So what then happens to Janabek?
Janabek, oh, bruv, Janabek is hungry, bruv. Have you ever seen Janabek's ex on Twitter? Have you seen his tweets, bruv?
No.
Fight me now. Canelo, where are you? Sheeraz, where are you? Adames, send me the contract. I'm still waiting for the contract. Bruv, last night he was like, I'm still waiting for that contract. Janabek, it ain't happening, cuz. It's not happening. Let it go, bro.
Brother,
He's thirsty for a fight.
It's because you ain't bringing the money, bro. You know what I'm
Nah.
saying? You ain't bringing them. That's what it is. That's what it comes to. It comes down to the fact that there's a high risk. The reward is actually great, to be honest with you, because it's world championship rewarded from that perspective.
Unified world championships
Exactly.
as well.
But it's people are looking at how tough he is. But I don't think he's impregnable. I think, you know, when I look back at his fight against Denzel Bentley, I'm like, to be honest with you, if Denzel showed a bit more belief early on, as he showed in the later rounds. Yeah, I think he made a very good account of himself. But I think he could have, you know, maybe stolen something in the night.
I think his recent performances have put a bit of I don't want to say fear factor, because I like to think no fighter should fear another fighter, but a bit of a let me you the other way, brother, and let me try and pick another fight. I do think Hamzah will fight him eventually. I just think it makes more sense for it to be for undisputed. And if I'm him, bro, if I could fight Adames, if I could fight Lara, I think you can easily get Lara as well. Do you know what I mean? If I'm like someone like Chris Eubank, why are you not going for Lara?
Bruv, because Lara ain't bringing the money. That's what it is. We know what's going on with Chris.
But bro, don't you want legacy,
brother,
fam?
we all want to see Chris going for legacy, but Chris ain't about that. Chris is about the McGregor and them men there. That's what Chris is on right now. Chris is on the Jake Paul trajectory. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not saying that's where he should be or that's where his level is. I'm saying his mindset right now is to make the most amount of money possible. He's not thinking about legacy with regards to his name in the list of the balling of the Boxing Hall of Fame.
That's a shame.
He's thinking about his name in the Forbes, not in the Forbes in essence, but in like the boxing. You know, the amount of money that he's made from boxing from that perspective.
So if you was a fighter and you're at the top of your game, would you care more about the big money fights, or would you care about more of the big defining fights? So that Money May's always said, like, legacy can't pay for my bills. Do you know what I'm trying to say? And like, but other fighters like, you know, you got like Sugar Ray Leonard, Roberto Duran, all them, man, always want to have the big fights, fight anyone, and have those titles, like Usyk, for example, as well. Which like part of the spectrum are you?
Yeah, no, I hear what you're saying, but what you got to remember is the people in those days, you're talking about the Sugar Rays and the so on and so forth, yeah, the money was with the big fights. So there weren't no money like on these other joke, man. There wasn't, the money weren't there for those ones. The money was in those big fights. So it's not, I don't think the game has necessarily massively changed from that perspective. What's happened now is there is easier money now at less risk. Do you understand what I'm saying? And when you had the period of the Mayweather era, which we are still recovering from, the period of somebody not having an O. Do you see what I'm saying? So people's ability to take risk, even from the promoters level all the way down. Like we heard Bob Arum recently talk about, end of the day, he didn't want to put my man in with my man. He didn't want to so on and so forth. But because they know the value of the O from that perspective. So it's all about right now making the most amount of money for the least. And I think that's what it's always been. But it's just that back then the money was only in the big challenging fights. When right now you have stars in the sport, you have stars outside of the sport that can bring money. And, you know, a star that we have to talk about outside of the sport is Mr. Jake Paul.
Is he outside of the sport though? Because all of these men are thirsty as well. Shame on you, Daniel Dubois. Shame on you, Beterbiev, yeah? How are you asking Jake Paul for a fight? You're undisputed light heavyweight champion of the world, fam. Fight Bivol as your next match, bro. And Dubois, you're IBF world heavyweight champion, bro. And you're asking Jake Paul for a little scrap. Come on, fam.
Daniel Dubois sliding into them DMs.
I can't believe that.
Sliding into them DMs, you know. Yeah, listen, I'm not going to do what you just did right now because I don't want no smoke with Beterbiev, all right? Arta, listen, that was him, not me.
Nah, that's why Bivol was going to run the rematch.
That was him, not me, okay?
Nah,
you're going to see him. He's going to see you soon, bro. You're going to see you. Don't worry about that. So, but yeah, no, I agree with what you're saying, but that's what it comes down to. For them, man, they're looking at the thing, easy night's work. Easy night's work.
It's a shame, though.
The reality of the fact is Jake's not going to take those fights because, like I said, it's all about the money. It's all about, and I don't think it's that much difference to what it's always been about. Like I said, the only difference is there are fights for big money that are not that difficult because there are stars in the sport to that extent to which people will see them fight a rock. There was a period of time where AJ had it like the sauce so good that if he fought me, it'd sell out Wembley. Do you understand what I'm saying? So it's like, but somebody like AJ has always chased
legacy.
Legacy.
Well, yeah.
Do you see what I'm saying? He's always been a throwback fighter from that perspective of chasing after legacy. So you have it's tough. It's tough from that perspective.
I think it really does depend on who you are. Because AJ, because he'll make money fighting like a Billy Bob, do you know what I'm trying to say? Like he'll still make peas regardless. So if you're making money no matter whoever you fight, you might as well focus on the legacy. I hear what you're saying and I agree with you.
Yeah, you see? That's it. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So when it comes down to it, when you look at it
does
in its
depend on
totality,
who you are. It
it depends on who you are, but it always comes down to money.
It does.
It
No,
does.
bro,
It comes
it's
down to
prize
money.
fighting, fam. When you put your life, I get 100% understand that. But I like to think when you're growing up as a kid, you're seeing all of these amazing fighters have these blockbuster fights and these like legacy performances and winning all of these belts. I like to think that's why you got into the sport rather than money, because there's always been that saying of if you're in this game for money, there's no point. Marvin Hagler, it's easy to get out of bed in your silk pajamas. You know what I'm trying to say? So I think it should be about legacy. It should, because we still have those fighters. We got Usyk, who's a prime example. Now he's probably in for the money, but when he started and when he got all those belts, it's always been about undisputed. But my question is to you, yeah, because we're talking about Jake Paul. Is Jake Paul the face of boxing?
Is Jake Paul the face of boxing? Oh, hell no, bro. What are you talking about?
But it's not a ridiculous question if you think about it.
It is a ridiculous question.
It's not, David. Think about it. Obviously, I'm playing devil's advocate. I don't want that Teletubby anywhere near my sport, yeah? But think about it. All of these fighters are chasing him, yeah? Beterbiev, pound for pound, top 5 probably. Daniel Dubois, heavyweight champion of the world, yeah? There's probably a couple of more fighters. Canelo will probably fight him. Do you know what I'm trying to say? Canelo said in the past, I'll fight him for the paycheck, innit? Think about it. Everyone is talking about him. When he beat Mike Tyson, by the way, that wasn't really a beating, was it? But on Twitter, everyone was cussing him. You got Tank, another so-called face of boxing. Dubois, Beterbiev, Froch, Bellew. By the way, Carl Froch, you're not fooling no one, fam. Everyone knows you want that fight. Like, he's trying to say, I don't need it for the money. I don't want, like, bruv, everyone knows it. You're not fooling no one, fam. You're not convincing no one, by the way. But, yeah, like, I think there's an argument for him to be the face of boxing.
There isn't, bro. He's the
Why
money,
isn't there?
brother, because he's the money man in boxing. He's not the face of boxing. When you
But
talk
if
about,
all the top boxers are searching for him, then why would he not be the face of boxing?
because he's the money man. That's what it. Listen, it all goes down to money. It goes to, listen, like I said, it all goes down to why are these men doing what they're doing? Yes, it's for our own entertainment. Yeah, we enjoy it, but they're getting paid. They're going through the punishment that they're going through to get paid. Do you understand what I'm saying? So from that perspective, of course, he's going to be the person that they're chasing because he's the cash cow. He's the person that is the least risk for the highest reward from that perspective. So, end of the day, of course, listen, it's for that for several reasons. One, because people want to see how good he actually is, and two, really and truly, because some people want to see him get knocked out.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think it's a latter than the first.
So the
point,
reality of the fact is, when it comes to that, if he actually fights a proper bona fide, boxer at that level, yeah. You're going to see the difference in levels from that perspective. He's not the face of boxing because he's not the best boxer. Do you understand what I'm saying? Nowhere near it. But he is the money man in boxing. He is the cash cow right now in boxing.
Right now, there's an argument he's probably the most popular boxer in the sport.
Oh, bruv, stop doing that.
Think about it. I'm not even trying to wind man up. Innit? I know the hardcore's gonna want to scrap here, but think about it, fam. Who's been talked about more than Jake Paul this year besides Fury Usyk? Think about it. And AJ getting knocked out by Dubois. Think about it. Who's been talked about more than Jake Paul? And to be honest, the argument Jake Paul's been talked about more than those fights.
Yeah, nah, you might be right, bro.
Do you know what I'm trying to say? Like, bro, I don't want him to be the face. I don't want him to be anywhere near the sport because I think what he did with that Mike Tyson fight, you was in Ghana watching it, you was messaging me like across the globe. I was very disappointed in that. Like seeing that happen to a legend, like a lot of people's heroes, and him reaping the fruits of Mike Tyson's labor. That the reason why he sold out was because of Mike Tyson. Remember that. The reason why it's on Netflix because of Mike Tyson, not Jake Paul. But he's been spoken about a lot more, and he's got that clout off Tyson to be spoken about more. His next fight is going to be a big one as well. It could be fighting another MMA fight. Everyone's going to talk about it.
Yeah, of course they are. Now, of course, there's going to be a lot in the slipstream of what's happened. But you're right. He does carry the hits right now in boxing. He is the social revolution right now
It's a shame as
in
well.
boxing.
It's
And all discussions so far have been around him. But obviously, right now, his fight's finished. In the next 3 to 4 weeks, that thing's going to die down completely. And we're all going to be talking about Fury Usyk. Or sorry, I should say Usyk Fury. I'm sorry. And until his next fight is announced, and if it's something decent, then he's had his moment in the sun for now. Don't worry, it's gonna
come back again.
It will
and
come
again,
back.
bro.
Of course it will. Of course it is. Of course it's going to. But there's not that many granddads he's gonna fight. And the truth is, these kind of novelties you can't do them bare times. If he comes out and says he's fighting Evander Holyfield, no one's gonna watch that.
No.
That's not gonna be a Netflix special. That's not going to be a sensational thingy. He has to do something else. There's a new trick. The pony needs a new trick.
I think the only way you can make that big event again is someone fight like a Conor McGregor.
The only way you can make that fight big again is by putting something huge on the undercard like he did with Taylor and Serrano.
What a fight that was, man.
What a fight that was.
I feel like they can fight. Katie Taylor and Amanda Serrano can fight 10 times. You'll see 10 amazing fights. That's just the way they are. Do you know what I mean?
What did you think when you were watching it? How did you score it with your eyes when you were watching it?
I can't lie. Even though I love the sport, but looking at that cut kind of made me go, I'm bad at like horror films and blood and that, innit? I was like, bro, that cut was mad. What I was thinking about watching the fight, I thought Serrano won. Close fights are not robberies, by the way. So a lot of people on Twitter are saying it's a robbery. It's not a robbery, right? I thought Serrano won. I think Kate had a point deducted as well, didn't she? So I thought Serrano won 6-4, and I thought she was closing the ring, going forward, landing great shots and fighting through that cut. Like, she's a warrior as well. Like,
she's an absolute warrior, and to be honest with you, she when it comes to the eye test of boxing, right? You enjoy watching her fight. Do you see what I'm saying? As in, like, when you see her fighting, she is absolutely relentless in the ring.
She's brilliant, and I think that she was a bit annoyed about the headbutts with Katie Taylor. Do you think Katie was doing it intentionally, or it was just because that's what the accusations were? Like, it's a Southpaw Orthodox as well. Like, bumping heads gonna happen. You saw that in Zerdo and the Chris Smith, same thing happening with Southpaw versus Orthodox. You're gonna bump heads. Do you know what I mean?
These things happen. These things happen. In the heat of the moment, you're pissed. You're livid.
I'll be pissed as well.
You know what I'm saying? It's likely that you're gonna say something crazy. Whether it's, I don't think it's that crazy, to be honest with you. But if Katie did it, then, you know, on purpose, then good on her. Because at the end of the day, she got away with it.
And she
did it on purpose.
She targeted that cut
If
straight after.
she did it on purpose.
The dark arts.
Listen, it's part of the game.
It's part of the game. The dark arts part of the game, whether we like it or not. Do you know what I mean? Bare people do dirty things in the tactics. Bare people stamp on people's foot to not let them get away.
100%.
People like push their gloves down. That's not necessarily saying it's illegal. Do you know what I mean? I don't know, actually.
If you can get away with what you can get away with, then you get away with it. That's basically what it is. That's what happens. That's what the dark arts of the sports is. It's playing with the line, the grey line. Now, obviously, I'd love to see that as a trilogy. I'd love to see the third fight of that. Even though it's 2-0, it doesn't matter. I still want to see it happen again.
If they have a trilogy, that trilogy will go. It deserves to go down with the Barrera Moraleses, the Gatti Wards, the Sugar Ray Leonards, Durans. Do you know what I mean? Like, it deserves to go into that bracket because those two fights were amazing, and you already know the third one's gonna be a blockbuster.
I'd love that to happen in Puerto Rico. I'd love it because obviously
probably Ireland though.
Yeah, no, but they've had Ireland. They've done one there.
No, but they want to do Croke Park, the massive stadium one, innit? And that's always been Katie's. I think that's the last thing Katie's wanted to do, innit?
Yeah, I want to say because she did Chantal Cameron in Ireland, but
it wasn't the big
there.
stadium.
Yeah, and because it wasn't the big fight. So we'll see. Yeah, to be honest with you, Katie's it's all in Katie's hands. So if she wants to do Croke Park,
do you ever see them going Saudi?
Bruv, that is all down to the man himself, Mr. HE, Mr. Turkey Al Sheikh, Mr. Ring Magazine.
Way, cha-ching, slapped on the Ring Magazine, bro. Good for boxing, yeah, because I think he's going to actually release the public physical copies of magazines as well. Obviously, I'm still quite young in it, so I never actually ever bought a Ring magazine copy, so I'm quite excited for those to come out. Do you? Obviously, it's a good thing. I feel like there's a debate. What is the most prestigious belt? There's a lot of talks if it's the WBC or WBA being the oldest belt in history of the sport, or the Ring magazine. Ring magazine's always been known for as non-biased. Doesn't matter. We're not a governing body. We're gonna pick who we think the best fighter is in our judging panel. And only the top two can fight for the Ring magazine together. So, that's a good thing to see for the Ring magazine. Do you think it is good because now HE has got the Ring magazine belts? Less people are gonna think there's too many belts in boxing, and let's just go for the Ring magazine to see who's the best.
Yeah, maybe that is what the end game is, to be honest with you, with regards to His Excellency. Because I love His Excellency. But them undisputed belts, that design team, you got to let them go, my brother.
Yeah, I don't like that. It's too kiddie, isn't it?
It's looking like some WWE thing.
I lie.
And to be honest with you, some of the old school WWF belts back in the day, they were hard. They were solid belts. What? Yeah. That undisputed belt looks, you know what I'm saying? So I think it's amazing that he's got it. It's so crazy because it's like, once he bought it, it was like, what? Oscar owned it. Like, it's like almost nobody even knew the fact that it was a secret that Oscar owned it.
Yeah.
Do you see what I'm saying? It was like, wait a minute, he bought it from who? What?
He's had it for a minute, to be fair.
Yeah, he's had it for quite a while.
Do you think there's too many belts in boxing then?
Yeah. There definitely is too many belts, but they're not going nowhere. They want the money. And they've got the history and the prestige now, so they're not going to fall off a cliff into nowhere. However, having this Ring magazine, it all depends on public perception. That's what matters in boxing. Yeah. So if what people decide to rate, like, even though fighters love the WBC belt, they love it because it holds the history, because some of their favorite champions that got them into the sport were wearing them and held it. That's the reason as to why, not because they like the organization, because a lot of people don't like WBC. People say all types of things. WBC stands for we be corrupt. WBC stands for we be cheating, or you know what I'm saying? That's what people say. Listen, Maurizio, that's not me. Mr. Suleiman, that's not me. I'm just saying what's being said. But the fighters love the belt because of the history that's tied to it from that perspective. So I think it's a great thing. As long as it stays unbiased, it stays with a solid panel that chooses and decides who the top fighters are, and maybe it could see the phasing out of the importance of the other four belts.
I do think there's too many belts. However, I kind of like the fact of undisputed people fighting and grabbing the belts.
Dragon Balls, bro. Dragon Balls, man.
Like Thanos getting all the Infinity Stones. I love that.
The collection. You better go and collect the things.
Because that's how he's great. That shows greatness of a fighter. And I love that idea.
Like going to the summit and just being like the champion. Okay, cool, I hear it. But it's the hard work before then. It's I am chasing this down. I'm going to fight this guy. I'm going to I'm going to take these terms just so that I can get the belt. I'm going to do this. Just like you said, like Thanos. Like sacrificed his daughter in that.
Division,
you, this guy.
He's in the cruiserweight division.
This guy, man.
100 the belts. I got away days. Get the belt. Get on the belt. I want to quickly speak on something. Speaking of away days, do you see Eddie Hearn's reaction in the fight? What do you think of it? Just quickly before we move on.
But no, just listen. Clarissa Shields spoke about it recently. I think yesterday she was talking about, like, she doesn't understand why Eddie has to apologize for celebrating, for somebody that, he brought into the professional game and has managed her entire career. There's a different emotion and feeling from that perspective. And the reality is, if the other side had won, they'd have been celebrating in that exact same way. So people might say, oh, it was over the top, it was embarrassing, it was so on and so forth. But it's just emotion. Like, let's stop making people be robots. Let them feel. Let people do what they feel, and especially in the sport of boxing. I'm not talking about in all areas of life. I'm talking about when you're watching and playing a sport that has so much passion, has so much, let's not sanitize that passion, and cause people to have like a fake like some of the best goals in football, right, that were scored back in the 90s and that. But you know what I mean? Players took their shirt off. I remember Ryan Giggs, 99 FA Cup, you know what I'm saying? Went on that mazy run and scored that banger at Villa Park, whipped off his shirt, started swinging his shirt about. Everyone was like, freaking heck, Ryan Giggs, you one hairy dude, bro. You know what I'm saying? But it's like, it's iconic because
Yeah.
it's raw, unadulterated emotion, and I respect that highly.
I love it. There's nothing like a good old away day win, innit? Nothing like it. A smash and grab, let's bounce yard, fam. Nothing like a good old away day, innit? I love it. I think away day wins are the best type
They're
of
the
wins.
best.
In football, in boxing, anything, fam.
They're the best.
But yeah, let's move on to a former WBC champion in Deontay Wilder. He's confirmed with that little trailer video. He's coming back to the sport. There's talks of him and Ngannou. He wants Ngannou next. Also, we've heard AJ is from Eddie Hearn that he will be fighting in May, June time. Is there any possibility that we see Wilder fight Anthony Joshua in May? Because Eddie Hearn has said it's either Fury or Dubois.
Yeah, because a lot of people were trying to say to Eddie that why is AJ off the Dubois fight? And it's like, I didn't say he's off it. He just said he's fighting in May. So who knows? Dubois might have a ding dong and then might be ready in May, June to go again. Who knows? Like I said, for me personally, I'd still love to see AJ versus Wilder at some stage. But saying that though, I think Wilder versus Ngannou would be a good fight.
Yeah, why not, man?
I think it would be a good fight.
Why not?
Because, you know, obviously Wilder isn't the most technically gifted boxer, but we need to see if he still has that killer power. Do you see what I'm saying? And if he gets in there and flattens Ngannou, one of them right hands, then the gas is going to come back on. Like me, I just want the hype train back around Wilder. Like he's a character in the sport, and I think he's got like 18 months left in boxing. So I just want to see, some wins, and I want to see that fight. I want to see him versus AJ. I want to see there to be some degree of jeopardy involved in that fight.
I love Deontay Wilder. I remember there was a picture of Deontay Wilder wearing like a massive mink coat and walking around like in 2019, and you can tell that's the heavyweight champion of the world. Do you know what I mean? You know, being the heavyweight champion of the world, especially WPC, it's an aura, and Wilder had that, and I actually missed that. I loved watching Wilder, and I think he's a really good guy as well, man. The way he speaks about his children, about himself. So I would love to see Wilder back in the ring. And against Ngannou, that'll be a lovely little scrap to watch, innit? Proper scrap. And what another scrap that we'd like to see, Zhang Bakoli.
Hey, Bakoli, one of the most, or if not the most,
Avoided.
dodged man in the heavyweight division. You know what I'm saying? I saw the video of him like wringing out his shirt. You know what I'm saying? Those the puddles of water coming out of the shirt when my man backed out of the
Ajit Caballero.
yeah, when he backed out of the purse bids. My man just wringing out his shirt. He was pissed. You see what I'm saying? Just wringing out that shirt like, yeah, but I'm working. They don't want it. They don't want the smoke. And the reality, the fact is, it comes down to what I said in the beginning. It's the risk versus reward basis. But for Ajit Caballero, there was a reward there because there was a mandatory position. But then again, if you fight him and you get knocked out,
Which could
you're
happen.
you're moving further back of the queue.
I love Ajit Caballero as well. He's one of those the most likable stories coming out of Riyadh season. As soon as Riyadh season came in, Ajit Caballero's been one of the stars on those cards, right? But you know Zhang, right? Zhang's always been that guy that call man out and call Fury out, call AJ out, saying let's have it. He's been awfully quiet since the IBF have summoned the mandatories between Zhang and Bakoli for Dubois' next fight.
It's the Bunsen burner, my brother. It's the money. It's the money. That's what it comes down to. It's how much money's in this fight. Sometimes people don't listen to Eddie. And Eddie Hearn is just like, look, this is what it comes down to a lot of times. Like I said, similar to the situation that we were having a conversation earlier when we were talking about Jake Paul and so on and so forth. The reason why certain people call him out, bro, is because, like we said, this is prize fighting. If there is a high risk, what is the reward on the other side? Is the reward coming in belts? Is the reward coming in cash? Is the reward coming in notoriety? What is the reward coming in? And when you look at a Bakoli, you see a very, very high risk. You see no notoriety increase from the general public. Yeah, you will have it from the hardcore boxing fans, but not from the general public who indeed are going to be the ones to push up your purse in the future. You're not getting any big money and you're not getting no belt. So, bruv, certain man would just be like, listen, no, circumvent that one. It doesn't make... Certain fights don't make sense. As in, like I said, if it makes money, it makes sense. Certain fights don't make sense because the fighter doesn't have the profile.
You know what I think the reward should be? Bring Riyadh scenes to Africa or China.
But Ghana's ready.
Fam,
Listen, Turkey, Give man a call. Don't worry. We got everything on.
Man's been making big boy moves in
Trust
Ghana.
me. Listen, Ghana's ready. We are ready. We're ripe. We're ready. We got infrastructure. You see what I'm saying? We got organization. I've got everything down to the T on the ground. Let's get this thing popping off. Let's get Riyadh season on the motherland.
That would be a great reward, innit? That's what I'm saying. Historic fights. Do you know what I mean? Like Freddie Manila, for example. Do you know what I mean? Historic fights. And if you think about it, Zhang Bakoli, the Hulkers really want to see that fight. But do we care if it was in the UK or in Riyadh? Like, would we all turn up to watch it in Riyadh? Like, people from the UK, US fly out to? I don't think so, right? But it's still a big fight. So why not do it in Africa? Why not do it in China, maybe, if Zhang says that? And start spreading Riyadh season to these other continents. I really think there should be a fight in Africa. Should be a fight. There used to be fights in Jamaica. There used to be fights in Asia as well. Like, I really, really think that we should start, moving around the globe, because that would be sick to see, innit?
That would be sensational, man. And like I said, there is history tied to it, so that would be amazing.
That type of fight would make sense though. In Africa, Bakoli, an African, having in Africa Zhang, a big fight as well, a blockbuster fight, have a really stacked undercard. Let the African people see what top boxing is, innit?
You throw in certain man like Josh Boatsi on that card.
There you go.
Do you know what I'm saying? You throw in Denzel Bentley, who's also a Ghanaian brother, on that card. You can throw in the Lawrence Okoli on that card, Nigerian brother. You can do you understand what I'm saying? There is a lot of people that you can throw in that card that, in essence, will increase the global fame of a lot of boxers. You see what I'm saying? Like, Eddie is very good at getting boxers in the US to fight in their hometowns. That's one thing that he did when he went to the US. He didn't do what everybody else does or what people do on the ground in the US that, mainly look at fighting in New York or Vegas. He was like, okay, what, you're from Philly? Yeah, we're going to fight in Philly. Oh, you're from this Phoenix. Okay, we're going to fight in Phoenix. So we need to start doing this with Africa. Do you see what I'm saying? And then what happens is you then increase the global footprint of these fighters.
You can have a Wilder and Ngannou on that one as well as the main event. Think about that.
Brother.
Even a Jagba versus what's his name, Fabio Wardley. That's a good little fight. That would be. Bro, we should be matchmakers. That would be cold. But yeah, let's move on quickly. I want to talk about Crispin and Smith versus Zurdo Ramirez. Zurdo Ramirez putting respectfully a bad beating on Crispin and Smith, and potentially fighting Opataya next. I just want to talk about Crispin Smith specifically. I think Crispin and Smith, and this is a big compliment by the way, is one of the biggest overachievers in the sport. Like, he was touted to not even win a British title, maybe at best. Yeah, the fact that he's gone on to be a world champion, have defenses, and go to Saudi Arabia, fight on the main bill. Like, fair play. Like, he's one of the biggest overachievers, and that's what hard work, determination, and believing in yourself can do. And there's talks that Crispin and Smith might actually fight for the WBC cruiserweight title next. That's what what's his name, Mauricio Sulaimán said, that we'd love you to fight for the belt next, because there's been politics going on with I think it's McKaylen that's the current champion. So that's not even done. He can potentially become two-time champion with another belt, having the WBC. But what a fighter Crispin and Smith is, man. Yeah,
what a fighter he is, to be honest with you. He's got a lot of heart, and he has pushed his talent to the limit. He's pushed what he's been given, and he's gone beyond it. Do you understand what I'm saying? That's somebody that squeezed the full juice, like the same way freaking Bakoli was squeezing that t-shirt. Yeah. Squeezed the juice out of his life. And I think there's so much more to come from him from that perspective. I think it'll be great to see him fighting for the WBC cruiserweight belt. I think he might end up following Lawrence and fighting for the Bridgerweight. He might not go to heavyweight, but he might go to Bridger. You see what I'm saying?
You can win the Bridgerweight title as well.
You see, there you go. So then that's an ability. I think it's very possible for him to be a two-time world champion. So
Jai Opataya is fighting on the 8th of Jan on a random, I think it's on a Wednesday in January, just to get rid of that IBF mandatory. Fam, let's not get into that. But do we see Zurdo Opataya as the fight after that, or do we see one of them try and get the WBC, then fight for undisputed.
Listen, all I know is Opetaya wants every single piece of smoke, man. I would love for it to be Zerdo, but I just don't know if Oscar De La Hoya is going to roll that dice in that direction.
That's a good fight, by the way.
It's a great fight.
And it shows how great Bivol is, by the way. Because Bivol fought him in an earlier weights.
Oh, yeah, no doubt. It's an absolutely sensational fight. But then I just don't know if Oscar's prepared to lose his world champion. Like, I don't think they quite so rated Chris Billam-Smith from that perspective.
No, they didn't.
So when it comes to Jai Opetaya, I think, underrate him at your peril. And I think they know that. So the money's going to have to be good. It's going to have to be a Riyadh season event.
Yeah.
It's most likely going to have to be a Saudi event. So it's possible. But I don't know.
I don't think there's massive levels between the two. I think it's actually a closer fight what people think. Like, I think Zoda's a really, really good, talented boxer, that Mexican style as well. And obviously Chris Billam-Smith's not on Zerdo's level. That's why he made it look quite easy, to be honest. But I do think that fight is a lot closer than what people think. And about Oscar, look, Oscar's said he'll put it on the line for the 5v5s, and he's put fights that that you'd think on paper is quite easy for Eddie's fighters to win. So on the Latino night, we had Zepeda, who had a fight with Temin Farmer. That was quite a close fight. It looks like Shakur Stevenson's going to fight him on that February card. What's the name? Boots Ortiz. That's a great fight, but you'd say Boots is the favorite. I don't think Oscar actually. I think Oscar's type of person. If the money's right, he'll do it.
He'll do it. Yeah,
and HG will make him do it.
You're right. Before we go, I think what's going on with my brother, Mr. Crawford. I think he might pop up on that February 22nd.
Think so.
I think there's a possibility.
I think Crawford's type of. The thing is, Crawford, I wanted to become undisputed in another. Like, I'm greedy. Like, I want to see greatness. And Crawford, three weight divisions undisputed. No one's ever done that before, and it's quite easy to get. He's already got one belt. He can get 2 belts off. Forgot my man's name, and then get a belt from Murtazaliev as well. Like, do you know what I mean? You can be undisputed in that one as well. I'd like to see Crawford fight soon. If not, just retire if you're gonna do this, bro.
He's not gonna retire. There's still money for him. He made the big fight against Errol Spence. I think there's another fight in there against Errol Spence at a higher weight division, and I think, I don't know right now if he's chasing to do any more collections. I would love for it for myself, for him, but I don't think he's out here chasing any more collections. I think right now it's time for him to cash in on the hard work he's done, because he has done a lot, especially at the lower weights, and he weren't getting paid a lot at that, at that stage. And now he is a global star, you have to say now. It's time for him to start making some good money, and I hope there's some good money in the fights that we want to see.
I think he wants Canelo, but obviously Canelo don't want that fight. There's another fight Canelo probably wouldn't want, which is David Benavidez fighting David Morrell now in February. It was meant to be in January. All these January cards that even Tank's not fighting in January he's got a fight in February now as well. Everyone's moving that. I don't know what's happening in the month of January, fam.
Yeah, January's out of here, man. Listen, it's straight after Christmas. People want to enjoy their turkey and that. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Right. What have we got next week? And Sonny Edwards, Galauia fight. What a great card in Birmingham that is. Who do we see?
Yeah, that's a tough one. I don't know. I can't call it right now, to be honest with you.
I'm gonna call it. I'll be straight. Sonny Edwards.
Is it against Sonny?
Yeah, I'll go Sonny still.
Okay.
Good fight, man. Good fight.
Yeah, it will be a very, very good fight. It will be a very, very good fight. But I think that's about all we got time for today. Thank you for watching the Squared Circle. Let us know what you thought about today's show in the comments below. Make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. I've been David Alorca.
And I've been Joe Orgula.
And we will see you again next time.
See you later, guys.